Sports Women's Volleyball Championship Semifinal 2 post-game press conference featuring the UBC Thunderbirds after the 3-0 win over Acadia. So we're going to hear from head coach Doug Reimer first, and we'll follow up with questions for student athletes quickly, and we'll let them get dismissed, and a couple more for coach. So Doug, start with your opening thoughts on tonight's match.
Obviously very, I'm excited and just happy to be in the position that we're in. If I just broke down the match, I think early on we had a few execution errors. We were doing a lot of good things, and I told the team in between the two, it's like sometimes it can be frustrating making a lot of good plays, and you look up at the scoreboard, you're only up by a couple. But I thought we handled that really well, and so when you see the score at the end of the first set, it doesn't look like how it felt maybe in the middle part. But credit to these guys for that. And obviously that was a solid second set. I thought we really asserted ourselves serving, and that took them out of rhythm. They couldn't get their middles running. And I just thought we were like across the board dialed in, starters, subs, everything. We knew, like, what did I say before the match? Never underestimate them, never underestimate us. And we talked set, but easier said than done, to keep sort of that rolling. And I thought I don't know if we let up as much as they made some plays we didn't execute as well. But again, very happy that we, hung in there, and I think we were back tied at 14. So all in all, solid performance. Anytime you win a national semifinal, 3-0, team that played really well yesterday, pleased.
We'll open up questions for student athletes first, and then we'll let them get dismissed.
Yep, technically speaking, a really solid game. How much does it help you, especially the athletes, to play a short game in terms of duration? You're able to go back to the hotel rather quickly. How does that help before the important final of tomorrow?
You want to go first? You can go. I think anytime you're in a competition that's high performance at each game, I think you're ready to go home and get into that recovery mode. And I think it's really nice that we were able to execute and basically just reap the benefits of performing really well like that. And I think kudos to us for maintaining a really strong team like Acadia with a lot of fire under their belt. So I think, it's just really, really rewarding. And I think that's just a testament to our preparation from the coaches to the players coming in, doing our job, getting it done, going home, getting ready for the big one tomorrow.
Kacey, another solid game of yours. We had the chance to talk with Akash after the game, who received the wonderful title of Player of the Game. And she said that you were, again, just wiping the floor, bringing those big digs at important times. And once again, the libero was doing quite the amazing job for the team. Can you tell us how you felt during that game?
Well, first of all, that's pretty on brand for Akash to make the Player of the Game interview about someone else. I think that, again, just sort of speaks to our team in general and her as a person. Obviously an outstanding athlete, so I think I'm just going to reverse that right back at her and say that she's an incredible athlete, great person to play beside, and I think everyone just feeds off of her energy as well. I mean, you can't help but smile when you watch her play. So obviously really nice to hear that I'm doing my job as well. I think it's a really unique position being libero. I think maybe we're like the goalies of hockey. We're a little bit weird. We're back there letting balls just pelt at us, but I think a big part of it is being there for your teammates and maybe doing a little bit of the undercover work and trying to manage the intangibles. And if I'm not directly involved in the play, then how can I help the people beside me? How can I support? How can I be a good teammate? So obviously our block and our serving and all of those aspects of our game make my life quite easy. And I think I'm really lucky to pass beside really excellent passers as well. So great to hear that I'm making Akash's life easy, but I think, again, I'm going to reverse to everyone else around me.
I'm not sure anybody can be well rested at this time of year. You're still in a national semifinal after a long year, but that went as well as you could have had in terms of getting new players within the rotation, staying fresh and things like that. Tomorrow you're going to be facing a team that went through a grueling 5-set match, and I'm sure you were like, keep playing, keep going. What is it like facing a team, though, like that might be riding on, you don't know what you're going to find, they might be riding on momentum, they might come out flat, they are an unknown. How do you approach that as both coaches and even players?
I'll jump in first and just say, in part, just shifting to thinking about that now, you know, but to go back, I mean, it's a team we know. We played them, you know, in league after Christmas and in playoffs, but you know, it is what it is. It's one match to play, and you know, both, you know, experienced coaching staff, so to say, and Alberta will be watching a lot of video, coming up with a good game plan. We know that, and we'll hopefully be doing the same. My thoughts on Alberta is they're just, you know, I don't think they're really worried about having to play a long time today. Like, I don't think that's actually going to be a factor in a national final, in my mind. If this was halfway through the season, yeah, it would be. But one match, no, like that's not it. So it'll boil down to the same thing: which team executes the best, who can mentally, you know, stay in there and do all those wonderful things. That it'll be in a tough match, but you know, I've just got a lot of respect for watching them play, like how they had to earn their way here. They had to work hard, you know, through a lot of just on the road, I think, in playoffs, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
3 straight
matches.
weekends, tough matches, which has helped them, you know, get to this point. So I'm not worried about Alberta's level of fatigue or preparation. They'll do just fine on their own.
Two more for the student athletes. Michael?
Yeah, so just in terms of, let's go for you, Kacey and Erika, and feel free to jump in as well, but I'm wondering, you know, being in a national final now, when you look back upon the whole season, how do you feel like you guys have kind of grown or evolved kind of over that course of that season up until where you guys are now?
So for me, I was injured for like the first half of the term, but watching the team grow was an amazing opportunity just from the sidelines, and seeing everyone kind of come into themselves, being confident for what they bring, and then piecing it all together and just trusting each other, trusting the person beside you. It's really brought us together, and we're able to look each other in the eyes and know that the next point we're gonna get it done. So yeah, that's kind of what I have to say.
Yeah, I think, again, it's going to sound like I'm just highly praising my team, but I think they deserve that recognition. I think when you're playing constantly against outstanding athletes on either side of the net within practices, you're going to grow as a team. You're going to be getting better skill-wise and execution-wise. That's something we've always been really, really proud of, and something that helps us every day. So obviously you're going to see growth occur from the start of preseason till now. I also think that we do a really good job from the bottom up, from coaches to players to student trainers to physio, et cetera, nutrition, of ensuring that we're taking care of all parts of the student athlete, because at the end of the day, you have to remember that's what we're doing. So if the student part isn't working out, the athlete part's probably not going to follow, vice versa. And I think, Doug and the rest of our coaching staff do an excellent job of making sure that we as humans are okay first. And I think being able to exist in an environment that creates a safe space for you to grow, because with growth, there is never going to be a perfect process. There's going to be growing pains. There's going to be ups. There's going to be downs. So I think being a part of a team in an environment that's really, really trying to facilitate growth the right way and in a supportive way, I think, that's just going to come naturally.
And then just to follow up on that, Kacey, you mentioned in terms of part of the growth kind of competing against your teammates in practice. And I'm wondering, feel free, Erika, to mention this as well, but I'm wondering, like, even this season, like, how in particular, specifically, like, do you find specifically, like, that helps in terms of, like, what that process is actually like?
Well, for one, I think I could play on either side of the net if we were to ever scrimmage in practice, and I'd be pretty scared of any of the attackers coming at me. So that already is causing me to adapt and grow and learn how to play against different players. And I think we have great setters, we have great passers, we have great servers. So anytime that those people are working beside you, with you, and against you, if we are scrimmaging in practice, that's going to create this internal, like, dynamic of growth.
Yeah, I completely agree. We have such a talented team, a lot of depth, so it's just really a good opportunity to play alongside everyone on our team and learn different styles, like different techniques, and see them and learn from my teammates. It's great.
Pair that with a really high work ethic from everybody, and it's pretty phenomenal.
I'd just say these guys for sure help lead that, right? Like, I think that's been really important this year, like just setting a good tone, you know. I think it's great. You got 2 passers, 2 excellent defenders. Erika did a great job blocking as well, like both matches here. Totally dialed in on, game plan stuff and creating a lot of, good offense. So, obviously going to miss these guys a lot next year.
We'll
So.
miss you too,
Yeah.
Doug.
There you go. Is that good for these guys? Okay,
Great,
and then
thank
if you
you so
guys
much.
got any
Yeah,
other
thank you.
follow-up, so they can go
We have 2 more
eat.
questions for Doug then.
I am curious, just a big picture for you, Coach, as a veteran coach who's been around. You just heard Kacey talk about, safe spaces and all those things. Have you changed as a coach through the years in terms of like being more cognizant of how your athletes are as opposed to, just how they are practicing, going to games and all that?
Good question. Could be a coaching conference. And, no, but seriously, I'll say in a word, yes. Younger coach, I think you're more, especially 20, like we're talking decades, right? So a couple of decades ago, more just dialed in straight X's and O's. I would like to think if you ask the majority of athletes I coached even earlier on, like I know for some of them, you are who you are in some ways. So element of care of athlete as a whole person is something that was written in basic, level 1, level 2 stuff early on, and I think that's important. Second point I'd make is just they're student and athletes, so respecting that. But I think basically society has changed, and for the better. Coaches, in some ways, I'd say at certain times, depending on their situation, and that could run the gamut, have either too much power or too little power. Sometimes in some situations, it can be both at the same time, depending who they're dealing with. When they're not here now, but they were in Quebec City. So with Lori Eisler, who's, a longtime coach and still involved in myself, we're inducted in the Volleyball Canada Hall of Fame in the end of August as coaches. So, and that gave me the opportunity to really reflect like longer term that way. And I actually credit my wife's professor of political science, deals a lot, written a lot of books and been involved, on aspects of feminism, etc. My child, Tian, same. I've learned a lot from them as well. You know what I mean? So I think just like you want to, I think over time as a coach, you need to get broader and wider and consider that. But when you got, that's one of the best parts of the job, right? Is like with these athletes that in the prelim context, I think like the growth, Kacey probably wouldn't have expressed that in year 1, the same way, but that's a credit. Like I see her as somebody really applying aspects of social justice and things. When we do Pride Night, she's front and center, right? Like not just, let's have, Pride Night and how many people we get, but no, we talk to team. And those are the things that, honestly, if you're working with university-age athletes, that should be a part of it. Not going, I don't think we go overboard with it or whatever, but it's, it can be a little bit on the culture, but it's actually as much or more the student, like what do the student athletes bring and what do they have? I don't know if that's too long-winded or not from your thing.
Just to follow up when you mentioned in terms of, since that last August, in terms of when you talked with your wife and you reflected and stuff.
Yeah.
You kind of touched on it a little bit, right? But I'm wondering, even since then, in terms of like, for you yourself, in terms of what, I'm just kind of what you're doing, maybe what you're changing and stuff. It's like, what in particular do you find, like, have you really started to do since that reflection?
Yeah, not even maybe that, but I think that makes you zoom out a little bit. So instead of, like, here you're dialed in on tomorrow, this tournament, reflect maybe on the year, right? Something like that, you're reflecting from a much bigger perspective, you know, from longer term. And part of it, like that environment, you're actually looking out at Volleyball Canada meetings, so you're actually staring at people that I worked with when I coached national team, of things. So you're looking at it from more, because if you're like, this is what I've done for 25, 30 years. So you'd like to think it's more than just, okay, yeah, here's the practice plan and crank that up, right? Like have more involvement and meaning than that. So it's about people, right? It's about relationships and trying to impact, and you get impacted both ways in relationships. So the longer term thing, I think, just in that, what's different there is you're thinking, okay, yeah, over the course of decades, not just a season, so you're thinking from that and who were the biggest influences on you. So I found that actually a useful process heading into the season, to be honest.
Thanks, Doug.
Good.
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.